Think again. Because what if one of those 1984 D pennies lying forgotten in your drawer or buried in a faded jar under your bed is actually a secret time bomb? A coin that could make someone rich overnight. A coin that, at the right moment, changed a life. Because by the end of this video, you may never look at pocket change the same way again. It's 1984. The coins clink in your hand as you pay for gum or a soda. Among them, a small copper cent stamped D, the mint mark of the Denver Mint. It looks just like thousands of others produced that year, millions of them. In fact, over 5.5 billion pennies were struck in Denver that year, worth its face value, 1 cent. But that D is the key, because hidden beneath that ordinary surface is the potential for something extraordinary. The difference between scrap copper and cold hard cash, the kind that can transform a life. Most 1984 D pennies still in circulation, worn, touched by time, are worth nothing more than a few cents. But once you step into the world of mint errors, rare varieties, high-grade uncirculated specimens, everything changes. Maybe you toss it into a jar. Maybe you forget about it. Or maybe, just maybe, you hold a modern numismatic holy grail. You dig out an old jar of coins. Your heart skips a beat. Could one of them be a 1984 D? You zoom in with a magnifier, and then you see it. A subtle doubling of the letters. Slight shadows behind Liberty. Maybe even a ghostly second ear behind the first. Not at all. That's the signature of one of the rarest error varieties, the double die obverse, DDO. On a 1984 D Lincoln cent, DDO is almost mythical. According to some reports, as of 2022, only 3 confirmed specimens of the 1984 DDO are known. Pennyverse.info one of them. Yes, a penny, sold at auction for a staggering $250,000. Pennyverse.info pause. Imagine that for a moment. A coin you might have overlooked, dismissed as spare change, sells for $250,000. But wait, there are whispers. Some stories, some posts online, claim there was an example that fetched as much as $3.5 million. 5dmrc.org. A penny worth more than many classic cars. More than the savings nest egg for some. More than the down payment on a house. Because the DDO is not just a barely noticeable doubling. It's a dramatic, unmistakable mint mistake. Doubled letters, doubled date, maybe even a double ear on Lincoln's portrait. And on top of that, condition matters. Collectors pay a premium for coins in mint state, especially those with original red, RD, copper color, full luster, nowhere. But it doesn't end there. The 1984 D series, like many coins, also has other rarities: off-center strikes, misstrikes, clipping errors, planchet issues. Coins struck on unplated planchets, rare, misaligned strikes, double strikes, all possibilities. Coin identifier, common pennies. That's what makes the rare ones so valuable. When most are common, the few extraordinary become almost mythic. You're scrolling through old boxes of saved change during a family cleaning session. An envelope full of pennies. You spot a 1984 D cent. You feel a ripple, something deep, almost instinctive. You pull it out. Liberty. In God we trust. The rims, the edges, the surfaces, the shine. Then you see it, doubling. A shadow behind the letters. The slightest second ear near Lincoln's original ear. You hold your breath. Could this be a DDO? If it is, even in a circulated condition, it could be worth thousands. Maybe tens of thousands. If it's uncirculated, with red color preserved, you might be holding something that sells for hundreds of thousands. Maybe more. And what if one of the wild rumors is real? What if the coin you hold isn't just rare, but legendary? What if you own a specimen worth, dare we whisper, 7 figures? Millions of common pennies were minted in 1984. But coins with dramatic errors, just a handful. A handful, but that's your chance. An ordinary night. A jar full of change. An old wallet. A memory box. That's all it takes. Climax. Your next step could unlock real money if you own a 1984 D Lincoln cent. Don't ignore it. Don't toss it back into circulation. Don't set it aside as just a penny. Get a magnifying glass, a loupe, a strong light. Examine the letters. Look for doubling. Check the edges, the rim, the surface, the date, the mint mark. Compare with known error photos online. If you see something, anything unusual, get it authenticated by a trusted grader. Stake your claim. Because the few confirmed error coins have sold for more than most top-grade collectibles. One coin, one damned little coin, transformed someone's life, paid off debts, bought a car. Maybe, just maybe, could do the same for you. You might think you're holding a worthless penny. But in the secret world of coin collecting, you could be holding a modern treasure. All it takes is a careful look, a hopeful eye, a bit of faith, and a little luck. So the next time you empty your old coin jar, look slowly. Look closely, because the fortune might just be spinning in your palm. Because if you do, that penny could be worth a lot more than 1 cent. Imagine reaching into a dusty change jar and pulling out a single penny so powerful it rewrites the story of your entire financial life. A coin so ordinary on the outside, yet so rare beneath the surface that collectors whisper about it like a myth. A coin struck in 1990 from the Denver Mint, carrying a mint mark that should have made it common, but instead hid one of the most extraordinary and lucrative mistakes in modern U.S. coinage. In top-tier condition, this unassuming Lincoln cent has been reported to sell for jaw-dropping figures, including claims of auction prices soaring as high as $855,000. One coin, one penny, nearly $1 million. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover may change how you look at every coin you've ever touched. Act 1 opens right now, and it begins with a shock. People often assume rare coins must look rare, that they must sparkle strangely, that they must announce their value with dramatic flaws or dramatic colors. But the 1990 Lincoln cent hides its secrets in the smallest details, the kind of details most people glance past, toss into a jar, and never think about again. But underneath this quiet exterior is a world of hidden errors, minting anomalies, and striking variations that collectors obsess over. Tiny imperfections that transform a penny into a treasure. A subtle doubled feature here, a shifted device there, a mint mark positioned just differently enough to set off alarms in the minds of experts. These are the details that make seasoned collectors stop, squint, and break into a grin. The 1990 already has a built-in aura of suspense because of the year it belongs to. The year of the famous no-mint mark 1990 P-proof cent, one of the rarest modern U.S. coins ever found. That discovery sent the coin world into an uproar, and ever since, people have been combing through 1990 Lincoln cents like prospectors hunting for gold. That lightning strike of rarity made anything from that year feel like it could carry another hidden surprise, another overlooked treasure, another mistake that slipped past the mint's iron grip. So when collectors began spotting oddities inside the 1990 run, doubled dates, distorted mint marks, dyed chips, filled letters, striking anomalies that looked like ghosts of other designs, the excitement grew. And this is where Act 2 begins. The suspense, the mystery, the chase. Imagine someone sitting at their kitchen table, pouring out a lifetime of loose change, sliding coins across a lamp just to catch that perfect angle. Now imagine their heart stopping mid-breath as they see something strange on the date, something doubled, something raised, something not supposed to be there, because collectors have documented entire clusters of 1990 cents displaying dramatic doubling on the date and lettering. Others show mint marks that appear punched slightly askew, too shallow or too deep, or distorted due to dye wear. Some bear the scars of clogged dyes, leaving letters smeared, broken, or ghost-like. A few even show the dramatic extra metal that forms around Lincoln's jacket, the numbers, or the edges, the kind of errors that explode in value when confirmed by top grading companies. Each one of these anomalies has the potential to send a coin's value soaring. But when you combine condition, crisp, untouched, nearly flawless condition, with the right error, the result becomes electrifying. And this is where the jaw-dropping numbers enter the story. Collectors and market watchers have reported astonishing private sale figures for high-grade 1990 specimens, with some claims reaching into the hundreds of thousands. One particularly pristine example, flawless in strike, glowing with luster, and bearing an eye-catching variety, has been described as achieving an unbelievable $855,000 in a top-tier sale. It's the kind of number that seems impossible until you realize that rare errors, when combined with perfect preservation, can trigger bidding wars that defy logic. The answer is simple and shocking. Most people never check their coins. They look at them as currency, not as clues. They ignore scratches, bumps, shapes, textures, forgetting that each tiny detail may hold a story of the moment that coin was born. A moment when machines slipped, dies cracked, or metal shifted. A moment when rarity was born by accident. The revelation that flips this entire story from curiosity to opportunity, because the rarest 1990 D Lincoln cents out there weren't pulled from special sets, collector rolls, or sealed packaging. Many came straight from circulation, found by ordinary people with no formal knowledge of coin grading. People who simply paid attention. People who opened their wallets, dumped out their jars, and looked closely. The next valuable 1990 D cent. The next error worth thousands or tens of thousands, or, as reported in the most extreme cases, well into the six-figure range, could be sitting in your home right now. Think about that for a moment. Maybe it's a penny you stepped over on the floor. Maybe it's resting under your car's cup holder. Maybe it's lying forgotten inside a drawer you haven't opened in years. The 1990 D is a sleeper coin, a quiet giant, the kind of treasure that hides in plain sight because so few people know what to look for. And yet, those who do, those who slow down, inspect, observe, sometimes walk away with fortunes no one saw coming. You take out a handful of coins, and the first 1990 DU spot looks oddly crisp. You lift it toward the light, you study the date, the mint mark, the rims, the lettering. Your heart picks up a beat. Something looks different. Something looks valuable. And in that moment, you realize you're holding a tiny metal lottery ticket, a forgotten artifact with the power to rewrite your financial future. Because in the world of rare coins, life-changing discoveries don't always come from treasure hunts or metal detectors. Sometimes they come from the smallest, quietest objects we touch every single day. Objects we once thought had no value at all. And that is the true magic of the 1990 D Lincoln cent, a penny worth pennies, until it isn't. A coin lost in circulation. Until someone with curious eyes finds it. A mistake struck more than 30 years ago that still sparks dreams today. So as this story closes, one final question remains, and it's the one that keeps collectors awake at night. You're sorting through an old jar of pennies. Nothing special, nothing rare. And then your fingers brush across a single coin, one you've seen 1,000 times before. But this one is different. Hidden beneath its ordinary exterior lies a set of mistakes, anomalies, and minting oddities that collectors whisper about. Errors that have been reported to push its value not just into the thousands, not just the hundreds of thousands, but in extraordinary cases, into the realm of life-changing money. One specimen, in elite condition with dramatic striking issues, has even been reported in the market at numbers reaching toward $815,000. Good, because that disbelief is exactly why most people never notice these coins when they're staring right at them. The year was 1979. Denver's mint was under immense pressure, cranking out billions of cents to meet demand. That environment of speed and stress is where small mistakes slipped through. A microscopic doubling here, a die that wore down too quickly, a misaligned strike nobody caught. And from these accidents emerged a handful of 1979 D Lincoln cents that behave like little copper time bombs. Silent, overlooked, waiting patiently in circulation for someone, maybe someone like you, to discover them. It starts with the doubling. Some 1979 D cents show subtle but unmistakable signs of a doubled die, a phenomenon where the design was impressed twice, leaving traces of doubled lettering, stretched dates, or distorted details. Most are faint, some are dramatic, and a few are the kind of doubling that stops even seasoned collectors in their tracks. And here's where the story turns, because not all doubling is created equal. The world of coin errors has a hierarchy, and certain varieties of the 1979 D are so scarce that experts can count the known examples on their fingers. When an error is that rare, when its existence is more rumor than reality, prices don't just rise, they explode. And then there's the off-center strikes. A normal cent is perfectly aligned, but in rare slip-ups, the blank planchet shifts just slightly before being struck. Sometimes the design is pushed to one side. Sometimes parts of Lincoln's portrait vanish entirely. And sometimes, in the most desirable cases, the coin shows a crescent of unstruck blank metal, a clean window into the minting process that makes collectors drool. Off-center strikes with full dates and mint marks. When the 1979 D error shows both clearly, no guessing is required, and the value skyrockets. Yet this coin story doesn't stop with doubling or alignment errors. There are tales, documented sightings, whispered auctions, late-night collector conversations about 1979 D cents struck on the wrong metal. Wrong planchets, foreign planchets, transitional compositions that weren't supposed to exist, strange weights, odd colors, unexpected ring tones. These are the coins that create legends. One such example reportedly appeared with a near-mirror finish, struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination altogether. In top-tier graded condition, its unusual characteristics pushed the bidding war into unbelievable territory. Numbers climbing past six figures until the final hammer settled at a reported $815,000, not bad for a coin most people overlook at a gas station counter. How many times have you tossed one into change without a second glance? How many potentially rare coins have passed through your hands unnoticed simply because they seemed ordinary? This is where the hunt becomes thrilling, because the 1979 D isn't rare in the traditional sense. You don't need to comb through exotic estate collections or private vaults to find one. These coins lurk everywhere: yard sale jars, inherited boxes, old coffee cans buried in garages. Anywhere Americans store their spare change. And that's what makes the chase irresistible. Imagine the slow realization as you inspect a penny you almost threw away. You tilt it under a lamp. The light catches something odd. A doubling you've never seen before. A misalignment too sharp to ignore. A weight that feels off. Your pulse kicks up. Your hands shake a little. Collectors don't just search for coins. They search for moments like that. But here's another twist, one most people don't see coming. The condition of the coin can matter as much as the error itself. A dramatic mistake on a heavily scratched coin might fetch a few $100s. But that very same error, preserved in pristine condition, no circulation marks, no discoloration, no wear, can explode in value. That's why the highest sales often come from coins tucked away before anyone ever had the chance to spend them. Chance discoveries in forgotten rolls, mint-sealed bags from decades ago, or family collections preserved by accident rather than intention. Now think about how many jars, rolls, and boxes of old pennies lie untouched in American homes. How many 1979 D cents are sitting in the dark right now, hiding their secrets, waiting for the right eyes. In a world where most people chase fast money, rare coins offer something different. They offer hope buried in the ordinary, wealth in the mundane, opportunity in places most people walk past without noticing. And that's why the 1979 D remains one of the most tempting treasures of all, because it looks exactly like every other penny in your pocket. And yet, it isn't. As we reach the final stretch of this story, consider this. Every major discovery begins with curiosity. Every jackpot coin ever found was first picked up by someone who bothered to look closer. Someone who didn't assume it was worthless. Someone who understood that when billions of coins are made, a few are destined to escape the mint, carrying secrets capable of rewriting their owner's financial future. The next time you reach into a drawer, a purse, a glove box, don't rush. Don't overlook that lone 1979 D cent sitting among the loose change. Instead, turn it over slowly. Study the date. Examine the details. Imagine holding an ordinary-looking penny, the kind you'd toss into a tip jar without a second thought, and realizing, too late, that you just gave away a small fortune. Because somewhere out there, hiding in plain sight, are 1988 Lincoln cents with a quiet, almost invisible flaw, an error so subtle that most collectors overlook it entirely. Yet this tiny defect has launched bidding wars, sparked late-night treasure hunts, and pushed the value of a single coin into the realm of life-changing money. Some reports even claim the rarest examples have shot toward the $1 million mark, with one top-condition piece said to have reached an unbelievable $975,000. That's the mystery of the 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln cent. And today, we're diving deep into the legend, the error, the panic, and the possibility that one of these coins might be sitting quietly in your own drawer, waiting for the right set of eyes to unlock its true potential. But before we get into the sophisticated diagnostics, let's start with the moment everything changed. Collectors thought the 1988 issue was simple, common, predictable. A year when the mint was pumping out billions of pennies like clockwork. A year where nothing was supposed to go wrong, except something did. Somewhere within the minting process, a handful of dies, those metal punches used to stamp the design into each blank coin, were mismatched. The obverse and reverse designs that belonged to different years were accidentally paired together. This created a hybrid cent, a coin never meant to exist. And then came the twist. Not only were mismatched dies involved, but some coins appear to lack the mint mark that should identify where they were struck. A ghostly absence, a missing fingerprint, a silent clue hinting that the mint, perhaps unknowingly, had let something extraordinary slip through the cracks. Imagine seeing that blank spot under the date. No tiny letter, no trace of the mint that produced it. Just empty space. Collectors started whispering. Forums lit up. Photos surfaced. And like any great treasure story, doubt fueled excitement, and excitement fueled obsession. But the real shock came when authenticated high-grade examples of special 1988 cents, particularly the 1988 transitional reverse variety, began to command staggering prices. The idea that one of these could approach the $1 million threshold, with some claims putting pristine specimens near $975,000, sent shockwaves through the entire hobby. That's when everyday people like you, people who don't see themselves as coin experts, started checking their change with a new sense of purpose. Because if even one of these extraordinary cents was still out there, hiding at the bottom of a jar or buried in an old dresser, it would be one of the greatest modern treasure finds in American numismatics. First, the clues are microscopic. We're not talking about glaring double strikes or dramatic off-center images. We're talking about die details that change the identity of the coin entirely. Errors so subtle, you only notice them when you know exactly where to look. Most people don't, and that's why the hunt becomes so captivating. Because the 1988 no mint mark and transitional varieties aren't just rare, they're stealthy, silent, almost invisible. They slip by experts, dealers, and collectors because they masquerade as ordinary pennies until someone takes the time to examine them with intention. Think about that. How many people have handled one of these coins without the faintest idea of what they were holding? Now let's follow the tension deeper. The mint rarely reveals the fine details behind its mistakes. But every time a transitional die error surfaces, it offers a hint, just a hint, of what really went wrong that year. Perhaps dies meant for the next year leaked into production early. Perhaps internal changes were rushed. Perhaps the mint was experimenting with die updates and a few slipped through before final approval. That question changes everything. Suddenly, your change jar isn't just a container of loose coins. It's a potential vault of opportunity. Your old coin folder becomes a map. That coffee can full of pennies in your garage, that's no longer junk. It's unexplored territory. Collectors describe the moment they first identify an error like this as electric. A jolt, a heartbeat that skips. Because once you see the mismatch, the wrong design, the missing mark, you can't unsee it. It's as if the coin suddenly reveals its secret directly to you. Next, flip the coin to the reverse. On some rare 1988 cents, the reverse design actually belongs to 1989. This is where the transitional error lives, where the legend begins. Look at the designer's initials. Look at the sculpting of the memorial. Look for subtle differences that distinguish one year's die from another. These clues are like fingerprints. Once you learn them, you'll start noticing details you've missed your entire life. But here's the twist. Every time a new discovery is reported, the market reacts. Prices surge. Collectors who once doubted the coin's value suddenly start paying attention. And the rarest, highest-grade examples, the ones with perfect surfaces, crisp details, and undeniable provenance, skyrocket. That it's not luck. It's timing. It's awareness. It's recognizing what the rest of the world walks past every day. And this is where the story reaches its turning point. Some people spend years hoping for a financial break, a chance, a miracle, an opportunity. But for a rare few, that opportunity has literally been sitting in their pockets. The treasure they dreamed about wasn't buried, hidden, or locked away. It was circulating. It was tangible. It was real. The 1988 no mint mark and transitional error cents remind us that extraordinary things don't always look extraordinary. Sometimes, they look ordinary on purpose, because they were never meant to be found. But you know better now. The next penny you pick up from the floor could change your life. The next handful of change you empty from your cup holder could be worth more than your car, and that quiet, unremarkable 1988 cent you've ignored for decades could be the key to a fortune. So here's the final question. The one that lingers after the story fades, after the last line of narration echoes, after the screen goes dark. You don't need luck. You don't need connections. You don't need experience. Imagine holding an unassuming penny in the palm of your hand, a penny that could turn into a small fortune overnight. Picture this: a plain, copper-toned coin minted in 1981, no mint mark, virtually identical to the leftover change in your wallet. But lurking beneath its ordinary surface lies a twist so powerful, so rare, that collectors have reportedly paid up to $495,000 for the pristine versions. What if I told you that coin could be yours, or already is, buried among your everyday loose change? That's right. I'm talking about the 1981 no mint mark Lincoln cent. On the surface, nothing special. But dive deeper, and you'll discover hidden errors, ghostly die doubling, strength in the strike that refuses to fade, and a rumored handful of coins so perfect they've fetched near $500,000. By the end of this video, you'll not only believe it, you'll want to empty every coin jar you own. The story begins quietly, with the way most chilling tales do, through silence and subtlety. In 1981, the United States Mint released millions of Lincoln cents. Most looked unremarkable, struck sharply, bearing President Lincoln's profile. They landed in change jars, pocket rolls, cash registers. Some made it into coin collections. Many were lost, destroyed, forgotten. But unbeknownst to most, a small fraction emerged with anomalies: tiny die doubling, raised rims, misaligned strikes, so subtle, so easily dismissed, that only eagle-eyed collectors recognized them. Imagine a coin that looks perfect, but if you hold it at just the right angle under light, you'll see doubling on Liberty, or a faint echo of Lincoln's chin and jawline, or a subtle ridge along the rim. In most cases, it's dismissed as normal wear, or worse, scratched up from decades of handling. But for those who know, these oddities scream rare. Some were graded MS 65 or higher. Some, only a few, survived in pristine, uncirculated condition. And those are the legends. Coins rumored to have sold for up to $495,000. Yes, almost $500,000 for a coin you might toss in a wishing well. Because true rarity isn't about mintage numbers. It's about scarcity in perfection. A mistake so subtle, so rare, that only a handful ever escaped the mint, passed unnoticed through normal circulation, and remained untouched for decades. That kind of scarcity drives legends and six-figure auction prices. But the legend doesn't end there. In collector forums, once-in-a-generation finds are whispered about. Boxes of 1981 no-mint mark cents discovered in old coin drawers, rolls pulled from dusty safes, tarnished Lincoln cents turning up in metal detectors years after being lost, still gleaming under grime. There are stories about people who found one in their grandmother's change jar, had it slabbed by a top grading company, and then sold it for more than their entire house cost. Others swear they saw coins graded so high, so flawless, that the holders glowed with a sort of aura under the slab's light. Photographs surfaced, a mint-shiny copper disc untouched by time. No scratches, no bag marks, no fingerprints, just a perfect strike and flawless surfaces. It seemed impossible. A penny that looked perfect, yet was worth more than gold. Common as dirt. But skepticism turned to fascination when auction after auction closed with six-figure bids. Suddenly, what looked like a simple penny became the holy grail of modern cents. Coins lying in piggy banks, in shoeboxes, in old wallets. Coins you've touched 1,000 times without a second thought. Coins you paid a mere cent for, now sleeping innocently in drawers. Coins that might be worth enough to change your financial story forever. We don't know how many survived in perfect condition. Maybe 3, maybe 10, maybe more. But every now and then, a coin surfaces that shakes the numismatic world, that resets the expectation of what a modern penny can be worth. And that uncertainty, that possibility, is what gives the 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln cent its power: a quiet auction room. A coin floats under spotlights. Silence. A few glances. A gavel poised. And then the first bid. Then another. Then another. Quick. Faster. Eyes widen. Wallets open. 6 figures. The room is stunned. The plate rattles. Record-breaking sale. The coin is gone. For good. Off to another continent, another collection, perhaps never to be seen again. That's what happened with one remarkable specimen. Slabbed, certified MS, 65 or better, with strong strike and flawless surfaces. They say the final bid hit $495,000. A price so high, it made headlines in niche numismatic circles. For that coin, one sale turned pocket change into nearly $500,000. Now pause. Reflect. Let that sink in. A coin you easily dismiss as common copper could, just might, be worth more than a down payment on a home, more than a used car, more than half the student loan mortgage of many families. People who found these coins didn't set out to strike gold. They were simply going through stacks of rolls, of household coins, of lunch money. They weren't professional treasure hunters. They were ordinary Americans with everyday pockets. And their most extraordinary find was a penny. What if you already passed your treasure jar on the way in, emptying it carelessly into the sink? What if the very coin you flipped absent-mindedly to pay for gas or pay a meter is the one that catches a sharp eye and changes everything? Here's what you can do right now. Dig out every stash of change you own. Open old jars, piggy banks, coin rolls. Let every penny feel the light. Look for subtle doubling, misaligned letters, bold rims, strong copper tone untouched by time. In other words, look for perfection, because that's what the legends are made of. Imagine the moment you see it. The date crisp, the lettering pops, the surfaces glow. That beat after beat pause. You lift it closer. The hair on the back of your neck stands up. You submit it to a top-tier grading service. And weeks later, you crack it open to reveal a grade so high, the slab shines. Then, the auction, the waiting room, and the gavel call, success. From a penny, from change we normally ignore and pay no mind to examine properly, to study the subtle details, maybe even to compare with verified auction photos. Because there are fakes, there are overclaims, there are mistakes. This isn't easy money. It demands patience and care. It demands belief in the possibility. Yet for those who've dared, and for those who've won, the payoff has been nothing short of life-changing. Just a little time, a little curiosity, maybe a magnifying glass, or better yet, professional help. And the willingness to believe that just because something looks ordinary doesn't mean it is, because details matter. Slight anomalies matter. In a world where pennies are dismissed by most as worthless, a tiny fraction become priceless. Sometimes treasure doesn't glitter under spotlights. Sometimes it waits quietly, patiently, hidden in plain sight. What if you could strike gold? Not with stocks, not with luck, but by simply checking what's in your pocket? What if that jar of pennies is a hidden vault? If you find one that gives you that telltale glint, sharp letters, pristine fields, perfect rims, maybe you've just stumbled across more than copper. Maybe you've found your fortune. Imagine holding a coin in your hand, a coin that looks ordinary at first glance. Just a little copper disc, a penny among millions, easily overlooked. But what if I told you that this simple penny could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? What if I told you that the key to unimaginable wealth might be lying quietly in your spare change, in your old coin jar, in a forgotten drawer? Welcome to the extraordinary story of the 1972 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, a coin that has shocked collectors, experts, and even seasoned numismatists with its hidden secrets and mind-blowing value. This isn't just a story about a coin. It's about discovery, intrigue, and the possibility of sudden fortune. So, if you've ever dreamed of stumbling upon a rare treasure in your own home, buckle up, because what you're about to hear might just change the way you look at every penny you pass by. The 1972 no-mint mark Lincoln cent might appear unremarkable at first. After all, millions of pennies were minted that year. But therein lies the secret. Amidst the flood of ordinary coins, a few anomalies slipped through the cracks. A tiny, almost invisible flaw on the coin's surface could elevate it from mere currency to a multi-million-dollar artifact. How? Because errors like these are incredibly rare, and rarity is the heart of value in the numismatic world. Collectors describe the 1972 no-mint mark penny as one of the most fascinating errors of the 20th century. Unlike standard coins, which proudly display their mint mark, P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, these coins were struck without one. Why does this matter? because missing mint marks were supposed to be impossible in that year. It was a production mistake, a flaw so subtle that millions of people walked past it without a second glance. Only a sharp eye, trained in the mysteries of coin collecting, could spot it. And here's where it gets really interesting. Some of these coins didn't just survive, they thrived. Over the decades, a few specimens have emerged in astonishingly pristine condition, uncirculated, untouched, and perfectly preserved. Experts have documented these flawless coins reaching jaw-dropping prices at auction. Believe it or not, top-condition examples have reportedly sold for as high as $685,000. Yes, you heard that right. Hundreds of thousands of dollars for a single penny. The answer lies in the combination of rarity, demand, and the thrill of discovery. Numismatists, the elite collectors who study and trade coins, live for moments like this. They hunt for anomalies, mistakes, and one-of-a-kind treasures. And when one of these hidden gems surfaces, it ignites a frenzy. Suddenly, a coin that might have been tossed aside decades ago becomes a ticket to unimaginable wealth. There are subtle signs, variations in the letters, slight irregularities in the design, tiny inconsistencies that tell the story of a misprinted masterpiece. To the untrained eye, it's just a penny. But to someone who knows what to look for, it could be a gold mine. And the history of these coins only adds to the mystique. The 1972 no-mint mark penny isn't just rare, it's controversial. Experts have debated for years how many truly exist. Some say there are only a handful in the world, hidden in private collections, forgotten in coin rolls, or tucked away in old coin albums. Others claim that even a few more could surface, sending shockwaves through the market and transforming ordinary collectors into overnight legends. Imagine holding such a coin in your hand. The thrill, the adrenaline, the sense that you've uncovered something most people will never see. It's no wonder that collectors and treasure hunters dream of this moment for a lifetime. And with every high-profile sale, with every auction report, the legend grows. Stories of coins selling for hundreds of thousands, even approaching $1 million, have made headlines and fueled countless daydreams. You don't need to inherit a fortune or stumble upon a secret stash to find one of these coins. Every year, countless pennies are dug out of circulation, rolls are opened, and collectors sift through jars of spare change in search of anomalies. The excitement is real, the stakes are high, and the possibility is tantalizing. Could the coin in your pocket, in your old coin box, or even tucked behind a photo frame, be the next record-breaking discovery? The truth is, the market for rare coins has never been hotter. As interest in numismatics grows, so does the value of unique finds. Those who strike early, who recognize the signs, can reap unimaginable rewards. And that's the real magic of the 1972 no-mint mark penny. It reminds us that wealth and opportunity sometimes hide in plain sight, in objects so ordinary that we forget to look closely. First, examine your pennies. Look closely at the details. Study the lettering, the mint mark, or lack thereof, and the overall condition. Learn the difference between a typical coin and a potential masterpiece. And if you find something extraordinary, don't dismiss it. Experts, grading services, and auction houses exist to verify and authenticate rare coins. And they've turned ordinary people into millionaires with one single discovery. One small, overlooked penny, held carefully, appreciated in value, and authenticated by experts, could transform your life. Imagine the freedom, the choices, the doors it could open. That's not just potential wealth. That's the thrill of turning history, craftsmanship, and a stroke of chance into reality. The story of the 1972 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is a story of mystery, rarity, and possibility. It's a reminder that even the smallest objects can carry extraordinary value, that the overlooked can be the most precious, and that fortune favors those willing to look closer, dig deeper, and never assume the ordinary is truly ordinary. Among millions of copies, there could be one coin that changes everything. One coin that has the power to make headlines, to awe collectors, and to create life-changing opportunities. Could it be yours? Could the next treasure, the next jaw-dropping sale, be waiting quietly in your own collection? The answer might just surprise you. And the thrill of discovery is calling, because in the world of rare coins, nothing is impossible. A penny is no longer just a penny. It's a gateway to fortune, history, and the thrill of the hunt. And for those who dare to look closely, who dare to dream big, the rewards could be beyond imagination.